Good evening, everybody. Brian Neubert here from goldenblack.com, live in the Convocation Center here in Athens, Ohio, at Ohio University, where Purdue just won 69-51, as you're well aware. First road win of the season, a pretty good win for Purdue, I have to say. A win that made me look really freaking stupid, because as you're aware, and as I believe Purdue was probably aware, I picked Ohio to win 65-62. You're welcome. All we can do is guess about what's going to happen based off what's happened in the past. Purdue has not been a very good shooting team this season. They've not been particularly very good away from Mackey Arena in that area. Sunday, obviously, was a very bad game against Nebraska. In a lot of ways, Matt Haarms, the bigger issue. I thought that without Matt Haarms, Purdue would feel it, especially on defense. And again, could not have been more wrong because Purdue dominated both ends of the floor, played arguably its best game of the season against a credible opponent. I do consider Ohio a very credible opponent. I think this is a solid MAC team winning at their place. Winning the way you won is a pretty good deal, I think, for Purdue. This is our wrap video, in case you haven't figured that out, from Purdue's 69-51 win over Ohio. This will be very quick because I have to get back on the road to Columbus to get a couple hours sleep and get back on the road to get to National Signing Day press conference at Purdue tomorrow. This is my fourth state since yesterday morning as well, so I would like to get my bearings. Again, this will be very quick. Why did this happen? Because Purdue was excellent. Purdue just played great at both ends of the floor. Their defense was awesome relative to at least my expectations. I thought they would really miss Matt Haarms, as I mentioned earlier. You wouldn't have known it. I'm sure there were some areas where things were very apparent that they did not have Matt Haarms out there today. When Purdue goes to its bench, there's some defensive trade-off there at the 5 with Evan Boudreau a little bit. Nothing awful, but you do feel it not having the shot blocker, not having the length sometimes. It just so happened that Ohio big man, what's his name again? Nate Springs went off 4 threes on 8 tries. How much of that is on Evan Boudreau? Probably not a whole lot. I mean, if that kid's going to step out and make that many threes, it's probably just one of those nights for him that Purdue won the way they did anyway. And Ohio got really hot in the second half. They were making a lot of threes, a lot of difficult threes. That's something that, might get lost in this win too, is this wasn't as easy a win as the score would suggest, because this went from 20-6 in 4 minutes. And whatever momentum Ohio had, whatever got into this crowd that wasn't as lively, wasn't as abundant as I thought it might be for a Big Ten opponent, Purdue withstood it. And, I thought Trevion Williams made a couple really big plays. Jahad Proctor made a good play off the dribble. Purdue did a good job answering adversity when it came. We've seen Purdue recently lose leads like the one they enjoyed in this game and go on and lose. And, there was kind of that slippery slope moment there in the second half. And you have to give Purdue credit for weathering it, answering with a run of its own, and pulling back away in the last few minutes of this game. Everyone played well. That might be a little bit overstatement, but you can go on down the line here. Trevion Williams, I thought, was really good when he was on the floor. That's, of course, the issue you worried about with Purdue. Purdue won anyway. They couldn't afford foul trouble. They got foul trouble. They won anyway. He still got almost 20 minutes of playing time, but had he not been in foul trouble, I think he probably would have gotten 23, 24, probably somewhere in that range. If Eric Hunter's played a better, more complete game than this one, I'll be damned if I know what it is, because he was obviously he made shots. And I need to couch all of this in the blanket statement of everything always looks good when you make jump shots, and that was the case for Purdue to a certain extent. But as we talked about after the Nebraska game, the big things matter more when you don't do the little things. And Purdue did both the big things and the little things in this game. Eric Hunter made shots. Everyone made shots in the first half. it felt like, but Eric Hunter dominated defensively in the game's signature defensive matchup. I thought this Jason Preston kid was pretty good. I'm sure he is very good, but Eric Hunter made him look very bad because he finished with 10 rebounds, drew 7 fouls. Maybe he did more than I thought he did. Anyway, he had 6 points and 5 turnovers on 2 of 8 shooting. So that's the important stuff. Anyway, Eric Hunter was really good at both ends of the floor. Jihad Proctor bounced back in a big way, I thought, from the Nebraska game, which was really bad, shall we say. I'm just reading the box score now. How about that? Isaiah Thompson did some positive things. Evan Boudreau, the numbers don't overwhelm you, but I thought he did some really positive things. For Purdue, I thought he and Sasha Stefanovic did some really positive things from an effort perspective. I thought Purdue's guards got outplayed at the ball and away from the ball at Nebraska by a wide margin. They got beat to some loose balls. They didn't block out. They just, a lot of little stuff kind of went sideways on them at Nebraska and led to that outcome, or contributed to that outcome. And I thought they almost overcompensated in this game because I thought they were all really good in their energy. I thought they really all tried hard. And this is what happens when you try hard and you make shots. You beat the hell out of people. And this was a good win for Purdue. I don't know what kind of, there's no bad wins, but I don't know what sort of season Ohio's going to go on to have, but they seem like a pretty decent team to me for a mid-major, and you will get credit on Selection Sunday, Judgment Day, for winning a road game in non-conference. If Ohio goes on to have a good season, this will look pretty good. This isn't a very sexy win in the moment, but it won't be a bad win by any stretch of the imagination here in a couple months. Purdue has every reason to feel good about itself here. They played really well on the road. They withstood adversity. Nojel Eastern played really, really well. I know he could have made a couple more free throws at the end, but for the people who harp on his scoring, he scored for Purdue last year. He chipped in. He got them garbage points. He got them kind of the miscellaneous points that really mattered a lot of the time. And I thought, he did a lot of that again tonight, for the first time this season. But Purdue's also showing pretty tremendous confidence in him too. For a guy with his foul shooting, his complicated relationship with the foul line, shall we say, for them to run offense through him in the post there late in the game, for him to get some really positive things off of it, I think that was really kind of telling of the faith Purdue has in him. But this could be a jumping off point kind of game for him as well. Really a game where he influenced the outcome here in a really big way. And obviously coming off the bench doesn't mean you can't do that, but obviously his role changed for Purdue, and people probably perceive you a little bit differently when you get taken out of the starting lineup, when it's really always not a demotion as much as it is trying to push somebody's buttons, kind of get them to relax, trying to get whatever it may be out of them and let them kind of move forward productively. And it seems like, Nojel Eastern has responded pretty positively to the move to the bench. Nobody ever wants that, but it doesn't seem like it's affected him adversely at all. And this is really the first game of the season. I can't think of all of them off the top of my head right now, but he really affected the outcome of this game, I thought. And I promised a quick wrap video, and I'm rambling, and I'm going to kind of cut it off right there. So long story short, I was dead wrong. I looked like a fool. Purdue is thrilled to death that they made me look like a fool, not personal, but because of the outcome that made me look like a fool. At least I hope not personally. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Everything's great for Purdue right now. Everything's wonderful, except for Matt Harms still having a concussion. Kind of see about him. Obviously the Butler game is a big one. Purdue showed tonight without Matt Harms, it can still function at a very high level. So we'll kind of see where things go, for the Butler game and beyond. But for the time being, Purdue's thrilled to death with this win. So I'll cut it off there. I'll get back on the road. I'll get back to Columbus. We'll talk to you again at some point. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.